right, we are in the middle of the week. We got the glow and the high from the victory. Big victory, no matter how you slice it. You might not like this. You might debate about this evaluation here or there. But if you're a Dolphins fan, you're happy. It's a big win. There's no way to. This is a playoff team. You fought them on the road and you won. Now, that's a thing in a bubble, and it doesn't change anything else other than the record, which is an important thing. So it's a great, great victory for us. But we're here now, and now we're heading towards the Patriot game. And the Patriots and the Chargers are totally two different animals. The evaluations, the settings, everything is going to change dramatically. And I've been watching a lot of Patriots film, and I will clearly state, and I feel very confident in this is without a doubt, by far and away, the best Patriots team that we've seen post-Brady. This is going to be a very, very tough game for many, many reasons. I don't know. I'm not saying we can't win, but it is going to be a different animal. And so I'm going to basically cover that matchup a little bit, just touch on it a little bit, because there's a weather component, and the weather component is big. They're even talking maybe moving the game to Miami. And so there's a lot of swing here, but even with all that swing, I just want to get some stuff out about the Patriots because I think a lot of people have misperception about what this Patriot team is. I'm also going to get involved, cover Terron. Terron, he practiced today in the red shirt, so that's in big. I know to talk as Lamb is better. We don't even need Terron. We'll get into Terron playing possibly or not. I did a whole big thing on Fangio, and I think either maybe because I wasn't clear enough or whatever, I'm going to dial that in a little bit and try to use a comparison between Fangio and Tom Olivadotti, okay, to try to finalize what my point was with Fangio. I'm also going to show McDaniel's growth from last year to this year, the past layout to show you how he did evolve and how it really changed this game. There's mitigating factors on that, so I'll get into that there. And then I'm going to wrap it up with just a summation on the media and what I'm getting a feeling right now. Not saying I'm right, but we and Tua have a tendency to be the media pinata. They love to beat us up and beat us on the way down. So that'll be the topics for today. Now, I got tape coming tomorrow. I'm going to show how disrespectful and foolish and ridiculous Staley was in his coverage of Hill, which totally changed the whole complexion of the game. I think Staley should be fired for it. He will probably be fired by season's end. It was the most moronic thing ever. So that'll be the film slate tomorrow. Now, normally I would do, if you know me, I'm the offensive line guy. But there's so much hype and excitement that if I show the film, a lot of people aren't going to be happy with what I'm going to say. And so I'm going to do the film study of the offensive line and the blocking. I'm going to do it on the Friday live at 10 p.m. here. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to to and fro. I want to say what I see. I got a little thing I could draw on a screen and it shows up on the screen, and then hear from you guys and back and forth because I'm not a guru. This is my evaluation. I think it's a fair evaluation. There's going to be good and there's going to be bad, but I want to do the whole thing and kind of show it here and then go back and forth. And also because, the people who come to the live are generally the ones that, really like this channel. And so I'm not going to waste my time cutting stuff off for people who be like, you just hate them or whatever. I'll wait to see how it plays out this week and then do my mea culpa or, I told you. Hopefully I get to do a mea culpa because that would be better for me. So that's it, guys. I'm going to get into the show right now. I appreciate all you guys do. I want to give you a shout out and a shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, Terron practicing. Good news. I don't think he's going to play this week as much as I'd want him to. I know the talk is Lamb's really good, and he did play really well in a backup role. There's a lot of mitigating factors. I'll deal with that in the live. But I don't think he's going to play. If you notice the way McDaniel was talking, he's like, I got to protect him from himself, and he didn't play week 1. Now you're going to go to the Patriots. You got this possible bad weather situation. You got a very physical defense with a lot of big interior guys that can rotate and be fresh. And that means a lot. And this Patriots defense is going to force McDaniel to have to run more than he did versus the Chargers. And that's a physical game. And so you got Terron, who hasn't practiced in a long time. Looks like a high ankle sprain is what he was dealing with, plus the knee surgery and all the other problems. You don't want him slipping on slick ground and having to run a football against a physical team. It's just not the best setup for the guy. I do think Lamb is good enough in the pass protection. My concern is the run game. But he is good enough where you could say, hey, we could try it this week. I think that we really could use a healthy Terron. It would alter things. But I just don't see him coming in, and I think it's best for us. You get the win here. Even if things don't go our way and we lose to the Patriots, you're supposed to lose the division opponents on the road. But you got the Chargers in your pocket with the tiebreaker now. It kind of gives you a little leeway. And then you come back the next week, you'll be playing Denver at home. That's a much smarter day to bring Terron back. Then you go to the Bills. You'd be primed for the Bills game. And then you got 2 kind of manageable games after that. I don't think this is the time to bring him back. But the trainers will decide, so will McDaniel. But my gut is that he probably won't play. We'll see, though. Now, Fangio, I did a whole big thing on Fangio. And I think people missed my point. The production, all those yards and points isn't what Fangio wanted, but Fangio is working with an incomplete defense. Now, you don't have Needham, you don't have Ramsey, you don't have Cam Foley because he missed some of his preseason with the injury, and he's still a little injured, and he's a rookie. So your secondary's beat up. And then you don't have the mirror safeties. I got to see how Elliott played. But so your secondary is a little piecemeal. Eli Apple is not the guy you can trust. And then you got the linebacker situation. Long was a stud with the Titans. In the right system, the guy is a stud, but he kind of got benched. He got beat deep on the pass to Allen. He had to cover him. And when you got a zone defense, those linebackers tie everything together in a very unique way. If you remember Tampa defense, Tampa 2, it was just like cover 2 all day. And then the linebackers played a critical role. It's not the same thing, but you need good linebackers. Just look at Baker. Played a pretty good job all day, but on a critical third down, he didn't drop maybe 2 yards enough, and the ball sails over his head for a big first down. So I don't think the linebackers are what Fangio really, really needs. I think Long was put on the side because, he's a little bit smaller. You're playing 2 D linemen. You're playing wide alignment. And then you bring Van Ginkel in, who's a physical guy, and he's pretty big. I mean, he's 6'3", 240. That's big for a linebacker. And he's physically shoots in there, and he can add some size to this porous sieve front that you're putting out there. And so I think that's why I saw Van Ginkel was put in there a little bit more. I think that if you're going to have a guy doing man coverage, kind of like with Long, you have Baker do it, and you have a smaller zone for Van Ginkel, and he would come up and play physical. And you notice that towards the end of the game, he started making some big stops in the run game. And so the front, I think, is fine for Fangio, but that linebacker group and that secondary group has its holes, and so he's got to cover that. Now, Tom Olivadotti had a similar defensive story. He had some good pieces and some holes, but he was never able to have a true feel for the game, and when it was the most important, he wouldn't come up big. He would fail, and the defense would always crumble in the big games because he just wasn't that kind of DC. And if you don't know who Tom Olivadotti is, he was the last defensive coach in Schuler's era. Schuler decided to retire or quit, whatever you want to do, because he was being told to fire Olivadotti, and he didn't want to do it. He didn't want anybody to tell him who. Now, he was being loyal, but he wasn't being smart because Olivadotti wasn't good. He just didn't have that feel. It wasn't the best defense, but when you got a good DC, he can dial stuff up. So I want to show you how a smart person presents this. I think I'm pretty smart, but I tend to be verbose. I tend to over-engineer, and I try to show a lot of stuff. I did a 24-minute podcast. I just did this thing here. But I want to show you from Al from 3 yards per carry. He did a tweet. I hate this tweet thing, and I like this tweet thing. It's like a love-hate relationship. It's really weird. So he put this tweet out, and it's so succinct, and it shows a very crystalline point, and it wraps around what I'm saying. The Dolphins had 8 confirmed blitzes versus the Chargers, 5 or more rushers. These were the results. Number of rushers, results. 5 rushers, 8-yard completion. 6 rushers, 1-yard completion. 5 rushes, 7-yard completion. 5 rushes, incomplete. 6 rushes, 3-yard completion. 5 yards, intentional grounding. Sack with 5 rushes and 5 rushes, sack. Overall, under the blitzes, 4 of 6 for 19 yards, penalty, and 2 sacks. And when you go back and you look at the game, he was just running base, light, base, blitz, base, light. And then as the game started entering the critical stage, it was like a heartbeat. It was like, boo, boo. Okay, a blitz here, blitz there. And then as the game became more critical, he dialed it up and he was catching them because he'd lulled them into seeing one thing. And in the middle of the game, he rotated. He brought both edge rushers, Phillips and Chubb, onto the left side and had them rush 2 plays in a row. But other than that, it was like, here we go. It was like when you put a frog inside a pot, if you turn the heat up, he jumps out. But if you turn it up slowly, you slowly raise the temperature, the frog stays in and falls asleep and gets cooked. And this shows in a very succinct way, saved me a lot of time if I could have seen this earlier, that Fangio just understood the game, laid it out like a maestro, and dialed up. Now, he didn't want the 230 yards. He didn't want the points. But he has an incomplete team, at least until Ramsey, Needham come back and Cam steps up, and maybe they find somebody to play that safety. Look, maybe Brandon Jones. So when you got an incomplete defense or unit, you either sync with the talent or as a maestro, you elevate what you got and call something big in key moments. And that's what I think Fangio did. And that's what I was trying to say. And that's why I like him. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to do this every week. He's going to be overmatched. And this week is going to be extremely tough for this defense. It's going to be extremely tough for this offense as well. And they work in synergy. You know, it's not in a bubble like the defense is here. And they work together as a team. As the defense goes, the OC sees the flow and adjusts, and vice versa. It's a team. So you have to remember that. Now, McDaniel, if you look here, this was last year. The red boxes were where he did not test. The yellow boxes is where he had subpar to terrible production. And the pink boxes, purple boxes, is where he had success. Look at this image, and you see there was large portions of the field he just didn't test, and the middle of the field was really guarded well. And Staley decided to change things up, and not for the better. Look at this image, and now look at this one. Now, he only didn't test one area. There was lower than average success in only 3 boxes. The rest of it, he had exceptional results, and the stars will show you there in the purple outlines, but clearly up the middle of the field, 109-yard quarterback rating, 101, 158. It's insane. He had about 225 yards there. And in the right-hand corner, 3 of 4 for 104, 1 TD, and 156. This is an abnormal game in the sense you don't get this too often. And if you go back and look, and I'll do that tomorrow, I'll show you how, Tua had some really good plays, some really big plays. McDaniel grew from last year to this year. You can't deny that stuff. But unless you want to be hype factor 5 guy, you got to also understand who in their right mind has the linebacker Kendricks play man on Hill at the line of scrimmage. They played Hill at the line of scrimmage with guys who were even in like 2 classes away from Hill in speed. It was a terrible, brazen, foolhardy game plan that blew up in his face with what you see. And a mixture of Tua playing a very good game. McDaniel taking a step up. And then, Staley taking his head and wrapping it behind him and putting it in his keister. This is what created this amalgamation of an unbelievable game. When you see the Patriots this week, this is not... The Chargers had two good edge rushers with no depth. They had no interior pass rushers on the D-line. They had linebackers. One was a run stopper and another guy's not that good. They had one or two cornerbacks and a very good safety, but that's it. And they were outmatched. The Patriots are a very good defense. And if you remember from last year when we played them, they don't do stupid stuff like put Kendricks on the line of scrimmage and chase Hill down the line. Last year, they took Jonathan Jones, who's got a 4.33 40. He's not as fast as Hill, but he's like this much. And they would put a man, and they would follow him around. But they weren't just say, play a man. They would play a man and then wrap zone around him, like the old Dion thing. And then they would mix and match zones. They did so much stuff to slow down the reads, to take away the easy first pass, to allow the pressure to attack the offensive line and then make Tua's day a little harder. And that's why Tua struggled last year. And that's why Tua will have a tough day this year. Now, McDaniel will do some things. We've got Berrios. Tua, I think, is a better quarterback. But this is going to be a battle. We're going to battle with this team. And so you have to be prepared for that. But the great news is, to me, there was about 4 or 5 passes there that Tua, he wouldn't have those in one game. You'd get like 1 or 2 in a game. But he had them all in one game. And then McDaniel showed that growth. And these things together, along with Fangio, he's not going to call 2 D linemen and 2 guys out wide. If he does, I'll say he sucks. But he's going to come up with 3 D linemen. He's going to mix and match. He's got to cover the pass and the run. You remember, too, that he plays zone, and Mac is really good with the zone. So it's going to be a different look this week. He's going to try to stop the run more. He's not worried so much with the movement skills of Herbert. So we're going to get a different look. But all these things together, I think, should make for a good game. But this is going to be a tough one, especially when you wrap up this weather. I was doing some studies. If it's a windy day, right? 0 to 6 points are usually normal. 7 miles per hour to 12 points drop 3.5. Anything over 13 points drop 6. So there is substantial effect on a passing game and points in general. And the reality is that you got to rely more on the run game in bad weather. And when the wind gets to 31 miles an hour, it actually affects a car driving. And the talk is, with this hurricane, you could actually end up with rain, maybe not, but gusts up to 30 miles an hour. And so this, whether it could be a sunny day, who knows with everything that's gone here. So this is a wild card we got to wrap up in here. But if this wild card plays out against us, it's going to play totally in the hands of the Patriots. They played in a rainy, nasty game, and you should see them play. They are a physical team that likes to run. They like the short game. They are a team that would thrive. They're used to it in the bad weather. They know the wind, how it blows over there in New England. So you got to calculate this because the media does not view your Dolphins the way you think they view. Some of them sure do. But overall, we're a passionate fan base. Tua's got a passionate fan base. You build the guy up, you build the team up, and as soon as they drop, then they play to the opposite side. I mean, right now, Tua is like walking on water. But if he has a bad day this week, even if it's a hurricane, he could be on fire. The winds could be 2,000 miles an hour. And if he loses, he sucks. And then that will be the narrative. And you just got to be prepared for that. And I think that's the problem sometimes with all the hype. Tua had an excellent game. There were mitigating factors. McDaniel called an excellent game. There were mitigating factors. Fangio called an excellent game, but there were mitigating factors. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. If we win this game, though, then I think you should be on top of the world. You would have two completely contrasting situations, environments, and teams. If you're 2-0 after this game, then it is fire time. But if not, or we win and 2 doesn't play good, understand how difficult this challenge is and watch out for the media playing their game. So I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. I'll have some film, up close. I was going to do the whole game, but plenty of people do that stuff. So I'm going to try to do some up close stuff to show you kind of what went on. Right now, it's going to be Hill, how atrocious the game plan was against him and how vicious he is if you don't handle him with respect. I'll see what else has there. But anyway, guys, that's the whole deal. I appreciate all you guys do. Catch you next time. Be well. Go Fins. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.